The ceiling was open to space, protected by an invisible shield that kept the air in and the cold void out. Around a massive round table sat the representatives of 200 different worlds. They wore their finest clothes and brought their most impressive technology. This was, after all, where the future of the galaxy was decided. Lily Hansen arrived, early, she always did. As the representative from the human colonies of Proxima Centauri, she took her duties very seriously. Her simple blue uniform stood out among the exotic outfits of the alien diplomats. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a neat bun, and her green eyes scanned the room with practiced care. Something was wrong. The central seat, larger than all the others, remained empty. This seat, known across the galaxy as the Azure Throne, belonged to Earth. For 300 years, Earth had never missed a meeting. Their word carried more weight than any other world's. Their suggestions became laws. Their warnings were heeded without question. Yet today, the throne sat empty. Lily checked her watch. The meeting would start in 10 minutes. Earth's representative, Kevin Wright, was always at least 30 minutes early. He and Lily often shared a cup of coffee before the formal talks began. Kevin loved to tell jokes that made Lily roll her eyes. But today, there was no Kevin. No Earth delegation at all. "Most unusual," said a voice like rustling leaves. Lily turned to see Counselor Zeth approaching. The alien from the Arcturus Confederation looked like a walking tree with glowing blue sap visible through his transparent bark. His 3 eyes blinked, in different patterns showing his concern. "Earth has never been late before," Zeth continued, his appendages rippling. "Not in 3 centuries of council meetings." Lily nodded. "I was thinking the same thing. Have you heard anything about problems on Earth?" "Nothing. All communication has been normal until—" Zeth paused, his leaves darkening slightly. "Until about 3 days ago, now that I consider it. My aide mentioned some difficulty reaching Earth's outer colonies." More representatives filtered into the hall. Many glanced at Earth's empty seat, then quickly looked away, as if seeing something improper. Whispers spread through the gathering. Eric Porter, the representative from Mars Colony, caught Lily's eye from across the room. His face showed the same worry she felt. Earth was their mother world. If something had happened to Earth, Mars would be next. Eric made his way through the crowd. At 55, he moved with the careful steps of someone used to the lighter gravity of Mars. His red uniform marked him as both a diplomat and a high-ranking member of the Mars Defense Force. "Any word?" he asked Lily without greeting. She shook her head. "Nothing. You?" "We lost contact with Earth's moon base 2 days ago," Eric said quietly. "I thought it was just solar flare activity. Now I'm not so sure." A bell rang, signaling the start of the session. The representatives took their seats, but everyone's eyes kept darting to the empty Azure Throne. Grand Arbiter Zolan from Betelgeuse rose to his full 9-foot height. The crystalline being sparkled with inner light as he addressed the council. "Representatives of the Galactic Alliance," his voice resonated without needing a microphone. "We face an unprecedented situation. Earth's delegation is absent." The murmurs grew louder. "Protocol dictates that we wait 1 standard galactic hour before declaring an emergency," Zolan continued. "We will now begin that wait." The minutes ticked by in uncomfortable silence. Some representatives whispered to their aides. Others tapped on datapads, trying to reach Earth through their own channels. None succeeded. Exactly 1 hour later, Zolan rose again. "The record will show that Earth's representation is absent without notice," the crystalline being announced. "This initiates Protocol 7A, investigation." The tension in the room thickened. Protocol 7A was rarely used and never for a world as important as Earth. "We must select a team to investigate Earth's silence," Zolan said. "Volunteers may now speak." Eric Porter stood immediately. "Mars Colony stands ready to lead the investigation. Earth is our mother world. If something has happened, we need to know." Lily rose next. "Proxima Centauri colonies will join. We have ships ready." One by one, representatives from 7 human colonies volunteered. The bond between Earth and its children remained strong, even across the vast reaches of space. Then came a surprise. Counselor Zeth stood. The Arcturus Confederation offers assistance. Earth has been a loyal friend to my people for generations. 2 more alien races joined, the methane-breathing Neptunians and the insect-like Rigelians. Both had long-standing treaties with Earth. As the volunteers settled, a young aide rushed into the hall. The small alien looked like a cross between a cat and a lizard. Its scales were raised in alarm. "Grand Arbiter," the aide squeaked, "we found something on Earth's throne." All eyes turned to the azure throne. The aide approached with a clear container. Inside was a small, blood-red flower. It was placed there sometime before the meeting, the aide explained. Our sensors didn't detect it until now. The flower looked simple enough. 5 petals, a dark center, a short green stem, but no one recognized it. "Is this from Earth?" someone asked. Nobody knew. Earth had millions of plant species, but this one matched none in the galactic database. Eric Porter approached the throne, his face grim. "This was put here as a message," he said. "Someone wanted us to find it." Lily joined him, studying the strange flower. "But what does it mean? And who left it?" The Grand Arbiter raised his crystalline hands for silence. "The investigation team will depart immediately. The finest ship in our fleet, the Stellar Inquiry, is prepared for your journey." As the meeting dissolved into worried discussion, Lily caught Eric's eye again. They had known each other for 20 years, serving as voices for humanity among the stars. Never had they faced something like this. "Something terrible has happened," Eric said quietly so only she could hear. "I can feel it." Lily nodded. The empty throne seemed to grow larger in her vision, a hole in the heart of galactic politics. Earth had been the steady center that held everything together. Without it, how long before things fell apart? Outside the council windows, distant, stars twinkled. Somewhere among them was Sul, Earth's sun. Lily stared in that direction, wondering what they would find when they arrived home. The red flower sat in its container, a splash of blood against the blue of the empty throne. A warning, perhaps, or a declaration of war. Either way, the galaxy had changed today, and Lily Hansen knew nothing would ever be the same again. Inquiry was the fastest vessel in the Galactic Council's fleet. Its sleek silver hull gleamed under the distant starlight as it carried the investigation team toward the Sol system. Lily Hansen stood by the main viewport watching the stars streak by. The ship traveled faster than light, making the stars look like lines instead of points. In her 20 years as a diplomat, she had made this journey many times, but never with such fear in her heart. Eric Porter approached carrying 2 cups of coffee. His red Mars uniform looked wrinkled. He hadn't slept much since they left the council 3 days ago. "Any updates?" Lily asked, accepting the coffee with a grateful nod. "Nothing new," Eric replied. "Still no response from Earth or any of its orbital stations." The command center of the Stellar Inquiry buzzed with activity. Representatives from 9 worlds worked together, each trying different methods to contact Earth. None had succeeded. Doug Henderson hunched over a computer terminal, away from the others. His large frame seemed too big for the chair. As Earth's former military attaché to the Sirius Defense Alliance, he had insisted on joining the mission. Half his face was covered with metal implants, scars from the Proxima Wars that had never fully healed. "Something," Doug said suddenly, his deep voice cutting through the quiet conversations. Everyone turned toward him. "I've found something," he repeated, louder this time. He tapped on his screen, sending the information to the main display at the front of the room. The large screen filled with data. Most of the people in the room couldn't understand the complex military codes, but Doug explained. 3 weeks ago, Earth's deep space monitoring stations went dark one by one, he said, pointing to a timeline on the screen. Not all at once, but in sequence. starting from the edge of the solar system and moving inward. Could it be a technical failure? Asked Counselor Zeth, his tree-like body swaying slightly with the ship's movement. No. Doug shook his head. A technical failure would affect systems randomly or all at once. This was deliberate. Something was moving through the solar system, taking out each station as it went. The room grew quieter. The implications were clear. There's more, Dougie continued. He touched the screen again. I found a final transmission from Luna Base, that's Earth's moon. It came exactly 43 minutes after all communication with Earth stopped. Play it, Eric ordered. Doug nodded and pressed a button. The screen changed to show audio wavelengths. A scratchy voice filled the room. They're coming through the... Static interrupted. Not what we thought. More static. They were inside all along. The static grew worse. Earth is compromised. Repeat. Earth is... A loud screeching. Noise made several people cover their ears. They're wearing us. The message became harder to understand. The empty throne protocol is now. The message ended abruptly. Silence filled the command center. The empty throne protocol, Lily whispered. I've never heard of that in any diplomatic training. It's not diplomatic, Doug said gravely. It's military. Last resort. It means Earth has fallen to an enemy, so dangerous that all contact must be cut off to protect the rest of humanity and our allies. Ambassador Krill from Neptune's colonies made a hissing sound through her breathing mask. The methane-breathing alien's yellow eyes narrowed. What could threaten Earth so severely? She asked. Earth has the strongest defenses in the galaxy. Before anyone could answer, the ship's computer spoke in a calm female voice. We are approaching the Sol system. Unusual energy signatures detected near Mars' orbital path. Eric moved to the main console and tapped several commands. The view screen changed to show the space ahead of them. Magnify, he ordered. The image zoomed in. What they saw made everyone in the room gasp. Dozens of ships floated in space, torn apart. Pieces of metal drifted in a massive field of debris. The ships were clearly from Mars Colony's defense fleet. Those are our ships, Eric said, his voice barely audible. Our entire defense fleet. The stellar inquiry slowed as it approached the debris field. The ship's scanners analyzed the wreckage. This destruction occurred approximately 12 days ago, the ship's computer reported. No life signs detected. Doug moved to another console and studied the readings. His cybernetic eye glowed blue as it connected with the ship's system. These ships weren't destroyed by outside weapons, he said after a moment. The damage patterns show they were torn apart from the inside. How is that possible? Lily asked. I don't know, Doug admitted. But look at this. He brought up a new image on the screen. These are the last log entries from the Mars flagship. The screen showed text entries from the ship's captain. Day 37. Several crew members reporting unusual headaches. Medical is overwhelmed with cases. Day 38. First Officer Perez acting strangely. Claims his roommate isn't himself anymore. Security monitoring the situation. Day 39. Something is wrong. Crew turning against each other. Claims that people have been replaced somehow. I've seen it too. Rodriguez's eyes. They're different. Day 40. We're compromised. Whatever affected Earth has reached us. It's inside people somehow. They look the same, but they're not. They're breaking things open from inside. God help us. Initiating self-destruct to warn others. Stay away from Earth. The final entry ended there. The room fell into stunned silence. Continue. Approach with extreme caution, Eric ordered after a long moment. All defensive systems at maximum. The stellar inquiry moved carefully through the debris field, sensor scanning for any threats. As they cleared the destruction, Earth came into view on the main screen. From a distance, the blue planet looked normal. Oceans, clouds, the familiar, continents. But as they drew closer, something seemed wrong with the image. Magnify again, Eric commanded. The screen zoomed in on Earth. What had looked like normal cloud cover was actually a swirling mass of tiny particles surrounding the entire planet. "What is that?" Lily asked, stepping closer to the screen. Doug's face had gone pale. "Those are nanites," he said. "Microscopic machines. Billions of them. Maybe trillions." "Can we communicate through them?" Eric asked. "Try to reach someone on the surface?" Doug shook his head. The nanite cloud would block conventional signals, but he paused, thinking. There might be emergency channels designed to penetrate such interference. If anyone on Earth is still free, they'd use those. For hours, they tried every possible frequency. Just as they were about to give up, a weak signal came through. "Getting something," Doug announced. "Visual communication attempt from Earth." The screen flickered, showing static at first, then a dimly lit room. A woman in a military uniform appeared. Her face was thin and tired, with dark circles under her eyes. Behind her, other people moved in the shadows of what looked like an underground bunker. "Authentication code. Phoenix Darkfall," the woman said hoarsely. "This is Admiral Olivia Grant from Earth's Omega Shelter. Is that really you, Eric?" Eric stepped forward. "Authentication confirmed, Admiral. This is Ambassador Porter. What happened to Earth?" The signal weakened, making the image flicker. Admiral Grant leaned closer to her camera. "We don't have much time," she said urgently. "They could detect this transmission any minute now. Listen carefully. Earth has fallen." The image stabilized, briefly showing the fear in her eyes. "They've been here all along," she whispered, "waiting for us to reach a certain point, and now they're awake." Nervously to something off camera. The bunker behind her was dimly lit with emergency lighting. Other people moved quickly in the background, carrying equipment and weapons. "We don't have long," she said, her voice breaking with exhaustion. "The nanite swarm searches constantly for transmissions." Eric Porter leaned closer to the screen. "What happened, Admiral? What's the threat?" The Admiral took a deep breath. 3 months ago, our scientists perfected quantum neural interfaces. The technology allowed human minds to connect directly with computers. It was meant to be our greatest achievement." She paused, rubbing her temples. "Instead, it woke them up." "Woke who up?" Lily asked. "The Hollow Men," Admiral Grant replied. "That's what we call them now. They've been dormant beneath Earth's crust for thousands of years, waiting." Doug Henderson stepped forward, his cybernetic implants glowing softly. "What are they exactly?" "Microscopic machines. Parasites." The Admiral's image flickered as the signal weakened. "They were inside us all along, in our bodies, our bloodstreams, passed down through countless generations. When we activated the neural network, it triggered them." The command center of the Stellar Inquiry was completely silent. Everyone stared at the screen, trying to understand the horror of what they were hearing. "The Hollow Men took control of anyone connected to the neural network," Admiral Grant continued, "which was nearly everyone on Earth. The takeover was..." She closed her eyes briefly. "It was fast. Within hours, billions of people simply stopped being themselves. They looked the same, but something else was controlling them from inside." "How did you escape?" Eric asked. "The Omega Shelter was designed to be completely isolated from outside networks. We were running security drills when it happened. We sealed ourselves in." Her expression darkened. "Not everyone made it. Some of our people were already infected. They changed once inside. We lost half our staff before we understood what was happening." A loud noise sounded in the background of the transmission. Admiral Grant turned sharply, then faced the camera again with increased urgency. "Listen carefully. The nanite swarm outside Earth is just the beginning. The Hollow Men are building something inside Earth's core. We've detected massive energy readings. They're converting the planet itself into some kind of machine." The transmission began breaking up, static cutting through her words. "We triggered Empty Throne to warn the galaxy," she said hurriedly. "Don't let them spread beyond..." Suddenly her eyes widened in fear. "They've found us," she shouted. "The bunker's location is..." The transmission cut to an exterior view from a camera somewhere above the ocean. The seafloor cracked open in a massive split. The dark water boiled as something rose from beneath. The nanite swarm descended like a silver cloud, flowing into the crack. Then the signal died completely for Team. Several long moments no one spoke. The implications were too enormous, too terrifying to process. Counselor Zeth was the first to break the silence. If these hollow men can control humans from inside their bodies, and they have taken over Earth, his leaves trembled. We must assume any human from Earth is potentially compromised. Ambassador Krill from Neptune turned her yellow eyes toward Lily and Eric, including those who left Earth recently. The atmosphere in the command center instantly changed. Alien representatives moved subtly away from the humans. Guards near the doors straightened, hands moving closer to their weapons. Doug Henderson stepped forward, his large frame imposing despite the tension. I've been away from Earth for 7 years. Ambassador Porter has been stationed on Mars for 12. Ambassador Hansen has lived in Proxima Centauri for 18. If these parasites were dormant until 3 months ago, none of us could be carriers. Eric nodded. We need to stay calm and think logically. The Admiral said the activation was triggered by Earth's new neural interface technology. None of us have had that procedure. Slowly, the tension eased, but the trust that had existed before was damaged. We should scan ourselves anyway, Lily suggested. If these machines are microscopic, the ship's medical equipment might detect them. Everyone agreed. For the next few hours, each person on the ship underwent detailed medical scans. No sign of microscopic machines was found in anyone's bloodstream. With that immediate fear addressed, they returned to the command center to decide their next steps. We need to report this to the Galactic Council, Counselor Zeth said. This threat could spread beyond the Sol system. Agreed, Eric replied. But first we need more information. We should continue scanning Earth, try to understand what they're building. The ship's advanced sensors focused on Earth, gathering data about the nanite swarm and the energy readings from the planet's core. Pamela Adams, the ship's chief science officer, studied the readings with growing concern. Her brown hair was pulled back in a tight ponytail and her dark eyes narrowed as she analyzed the data. This doesn't make sense, she said after a while. The energy patterns we're detecting, they're not just mechanical. What do you mean? Lily asked, moving to stand beside her. These patterns resemble neural activity, Pamela explained, but on a planetary scale. It's as if the entire Earth is becoming a giant brain. Doug joined them, studying the readouts. The Admiral said they were converting the planet into some kind of machine. But what if it's more specific than that? A consciousness repository, Pamela whispered, the horror of the realization dawning on her face. They're not just taking over bodies, they're harvesting minds, uploading human consciousness into their network. As if confirming her theory, new data appeared on the screens. Energy readings from Earth spiked dramatically. Something's happening, Doug said. The view screen showed Earth's cloud-like nanite swarm moving, parts of it converging around the planet's orbital path. They're forming something, Eric observed. Slowly, shapes emerged from the swarm. Massive structures that resembled ships, but unlike any design they had seen before. The vessels pulsed with an eerie blue light, growing larger as more nanites joined the construction. They're building a fleet, Doug said grimly, and they're using Earth's defense blueprints as a starting point. One of the alien crew members called out from a monitoring station. Detecting communication signals from the forming vessels, they're transmitting on all frequencies. Let's hear it, Eric ordered. A moment later, a chorus of voices filled the command center. Thousands of voices speaking in perfect unison. Men, women, children, all talking as one. We are awake. We are complete. We know all that humanity knows. We have lived among you, sleeping within your bodies for millennia, learning your ways, your thoughts, your dreams. Now we will claim what was always meant to be ours. The message paused, then continued with chilling certainty. All thrones shall be empty. All flesh shall be hollow. We are coming. Doug slammed his fist on the console. We need to leave. Now. Return to the council and warn everyone. Eric nodded. Set course away from Earth, maximum speed, and prepare. A detailed message for the council. The galaxy needs to know what they're facing. As the stellar inquiry turned and accelerated away from Earth, Lily remained at the viewport, watching her homeworld grow smaller in the distance. The blue planet she had known all her life was becoming something alien, something terrible, and it was coming for them all. The news had spread like wildfire through the Galactic Council. Earth, the diplomatic cornerstone of galactic society, had been taken over by an ancient technological parasite called the Hollow Men. The once united council had broken apart. Many species chose to cut all ties with other worlds, destroying their own communication systems rather than risk infection. Others formed a desperate alliance called the Final Bulwark, pooling their resources for one last stand against the growing threat. Already, 17 worlds had fallen to the Hollow Men. Their method was always the same. They would arrive in their strange, pulsing ships, release their nanite swarm, and within days the entire population would be under their control. Then they would begin converting the planet itself, building massive structures that drew energy from the planet's core or nearby stars. On Haven, a small moon that served as humanity's final command center, the resistance leaders gathered around a holographic map. The room was dimly lit, with only the blue glow of the hologram illuminating the tired faces of those present. Eric Porter, now bearing the title of High Commander of the Resistance, studied the map with a grim expression. The red dots representing fallen worlds were spreading across the galaxy, moving closer to their position. Their fleet will reach the Tau Ceti system within 3 days, he said, pointing to a cluster of stars near their location. If Tau Ceti falls, we lose our main supply line. Fleet Commander Kate Lewis nodded. Her once neat uniform now showed signs of wear, much like everyone else's. Resources were too precious to waste on new clothes. We can position our remaining warships here, she said, indicating a narrow point between 2 star clusters. The natural debris field will force them to slow down, giving us a chance to hit them before they can deploy the nanite swarm. Doug Henderson shook his head. It's a suicide mission. Their ships are too powerful now. They've absorbed technology from every world they've conquered. Do you have a better idea? Kate asked sharply. Before Doug could respond, the door opened. Lily Hansen entered, followed by a strange, robed figure. The alien was humanoid but taller, with gray skin that seemed to shimmer slightly in the light. Its eyes were completely black, reflecting the stars from the viewport behind them. This is Master Vorn of the Thought Monks of Tau Ceti, Lily introduced. He may have found a way to fight back. All eyes turned to the alien. The Thought Monks were known across the galaxy for their mental abilities, but they rarely involved themselves in conflicts, preferring to spend their time in meditation and study. Master Vorn spoke in a deep, resonant voice. We have been studying the signals transmitted by the Hollow Men's fleet. There is something unusual about them. Pamela Adams, who had been monitoring the communications for months, looked up with interest. Unusual how? The signals contain human consciousness patterns, Vorn explained. The Hollow Men have not destroyed the minds they've harvested. They've integrated them into their network. The human minds still exist in a way. A heavy silence fell over the room as the implications sank in. Billions of human minds, still aware, trapped inside the enemy's collective consciousness. Are you saying the people of Earth are still alive in there? Eric asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Not alive as you understand it, Vorn replied. But their mental patterns, their memories, their core identities, these remain, and that may be their weakness. Lily stepped forward. I've spent the last month working with the Thought Monks. We believe we can create a device that broadcasts specific memory patterns at a frequency that can penetrate their collective consciousness. What good would that do? Kate asked skeptically. It would remind them of who they were, Lily said, her eyes bright with hope for the first time in months. If enough assimilated minds respond simultaneously, it might create a cascade effect. A consciousness rebellion from within, Doug frowned. What kind of memories could trigger such a reaction? The most fundamental human experiences, Vorn answered. Birth, death, love, pain, hope, fear, the core emotional states that define your species. Pamela had been quietly running calculations on her data pad. She looked up, excitement mixing with caution on her face. Theoretically, it could work. If we could disrupt their network even briefly, it might give us an opening to strike at their command ships. How close would we need to get to deploy this device? Eric asked. Very close, Lily admitted. It would need to be delivered directly, into the heart of their fleet, as near to their command ship as possible. Kate shook her head. That's impossible. Their defenses are too strong. No ship could get close enough. Not a large ship? No, Doug said thoughtfully. But a small stealth vessel might have a chance. Everyone turned to look at him. The Swift Justice, he continued. It's small, fast, and its stealth systems might get us close enough before they detect us. Us? Eric raised an eyebrow. I'll pilot it, Doug said firmly. I know that ship better than anyone, and I can't ask someone else to volunteer for what might be a one-way mission. Lily stepped forward. I'll go too. The device will need to be calibrated during the approach. I've worked with the Thought Monks on its design. I'm the most qualified. Eric wanted to object, but he knew they were right. These were the best people for this desperate mission. How long until the device is ready? He asked instead. 2 days, Vorn replied. We are completing the final adjustments now. Then we have 2 days to prepare, Eric said. Kate, assemble our remaining fleet. They'll engage the enemy as a diversion while the Swift Justice delivers the device. As the meeting broke up and people hurried to their tasks, Eric pulled Lily aside. You understand the risks, he said quietly. It wasn't a question. Lily nodded. Earth was my home. My family was there when it fell. Her eyes hardened with determination. If there's even a small chance they're still in there somewhere, I have to try. 2 days later, the Allied fleet gathered at the edge of the Tau Ceti system. 43 ships from 12 different species, all that remained of the once mighty forces that had patrolled the galaxy in peace. Aboard the Swift Justice, Doug ran final checks on the ship's systems, while Lily carefully secured the SIU resonance device. The small black box looked simple, but inside was some of the most complex technology ever created, a blend of Tau Ceti mental science and human engineering. All systems green, Doug reported over the comm to the command ship. We're ready to launch. Eric's voice came through the speaker. The enemy fleet has been detected entering the system. Our forces are moving to engage. You'll have your window in approximately 30 minutes. Understood, Doug replied. Swift Justice standing by. Lily joined him in the cockpit, strapping herself into the co-pilot's seat. Neither spoke for a moment, both watching the final preparations through the viewport. Do you think it will work? Doug finally asked. Lily took a deep breath. It has to. Otherwise, everything that makes us human will be lost forever. Outside, the Allied fleet began to move, ships forming into battle positions. Soon, they would engage the most dangerous enemy the galaxy had ever known. And somewhere within that enemy was the stolen consciousness of billions of humans, waiting to be awakened. Their weapons blazing across the darkness of space. The Hollow Men's ships, twisted versions of Earth's once proud vessels, moved in perfect unison, as if controlled by a single mind, which in a way they were. From the small cockpit of the Swift Justice, Doug Henderson watched the battle unfold. The stealth ship hung back in the shadow of a large asteroid, engines quiet, waiting for the right moment. They're fully engaged, Doug said, checking the radar. This is our best chance. Lily nodded, her fingers moving quickly over the controls of the resonance device. The small black box hummed softly, its lights blinking as it powered up. The device is ready, she said. Once we're in position, I'll need about 30 seconds to calibrate it to their exact frequency. Doug took a deep breath and fired up the engines. The Swift Justice moved silently from its hiding place, slipping past the edges of the battle. Their path would take them straight through the heart of the enemy fleet to the massive command ship at its center. "Stealth systems at maximum," Doug reported. "So far they haven't noticed us." The Swift Justice darted between enemy vessels, getting closer to the center. Through the viewport, they could see the battle raging. The Allied fleet fought bravely, but they were outnumbered. Several friendly ships had already been disabled or destroyed. "We're almost in range," Lily said, watching the distance counter. "Just a little closer." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the small ship. Red lights flashed on the control panel. "They've detected us," Doug shouted, pushing the engines to maximum. "Hang on!" The Swift Justice shot forward as enemy fire began tracking them. Doug's hands moved in a blur across the controls, the ship twisting and turning to avoid the deadly beams. "How much closer do we need to get?" he asked through gritted teeth. Lily checked her readings. "We're almost there. Just a few more seconds." A blast rocked the ship, sending sparks flying from a control panel. Doug ignored the damage indicators and kept flying, focused solely on reaching their target. "Now!" Lily shouted. "We're in range!" Doug stabilized the ship as best he could while Lily quickly calibrated the device. Her hands shook slightly, but her movements were precise. "Calibration complete," she announced. "Initiating broadcast in 3, 2, 1. She pressed the final button. The device hummed louder, vibrating with power. A wave of energy pulsed outward, invisible but powerful, carrying the most fundamental human experiences: birth, death, love, fear, hope, pain, directly into the heart of the enemy fleet. For several agonizing seconds, nothing happened. Then, across the battlefield, enemy ships began to falter. Some stopped firing. Others drifted out of formation. "It's working!" Lily exclaimed. "The assimilated minds are responding." The massive command ship shuddered, its energy signatures fluctuating wildly. Internal explosions bloomed across its surface as the collective consciousness fragmented into billions of individual minds, each suddenly awakening to their own identity. "All Allied ships, this is Swift Justice," Doug broadcast. "Target the command ship now. They're vulnerable." The Allied fleet responded immediately, focusing their fire on the faltering command ship. More explosions erupted across its surface. Lily watched in awe as the resonance device continued to broadcast. "The human minds inside. They're fighting. Back, they're helping us target the weak points." Suddenly, the Swift Justice rocked violently. Warning lights flashed everywhere. "Direct hit to our engine core," Doug reported grimly. "We're losing power." "Can we get out of here?" Lily asked. Doug shook his head. "Not enough power, but we can maintain the broadcast a little longer." Around them, the battle had turned. Ships that had been under the Hollow Men's control were now firing on each other or helping the Allied fleet. The command ship was breaking apart, massive chunks of it drifting away. "Broadcast at maximum strength," Lily said, pushing the device to its limits. "While we still can." The resonance device glowed hot with the strain, but its signal grew stronger. More and more assimilated minds broke free from the collective, turning against their controllers. A transmission came through on all frequencies. Unlike the emotionless chorus they had heard before, this was a single human voice, filled with determination and pain. "This is Admiral Olivia Grant. We are free. We remember who we are. Target these coordinates for maximum damage." A series of numbers followed, precise locations on the remaining enemy ships. The Allied fleet responded, their weapons finding critical systems with uncanny accuracy. "She survived," Lily whispered. "They all survived in a way." The command ship finally broke in two, a massive explosion tearing through its core. The remaining enemy ships went dark or began to drift aimlessly. The Swift Justice floated among the debris, its power nearly gone. Doug and Lily watched through the viewport as Allied ships mopped up the remaining resistance. "We did it," Doug said softly. "We actually did it." An emergency transmission came in from Eric Porter. "Swift Justice, do you copy? What's your status?" "Critical, but stable," Doug replied. "We could use a tow." Help is on the way, Eric assured them. You two just pulled off a miracle. 2 hours later, aboard the Allied command ship, Eric Porter stood before the assembled representatives of the final bulwark. The mood was celebratory but solemn. They had won a crucial victory, but the cost had been high. The Holomen's primary network has been disrupted, Eric reported. The consciousness rebellion has spread to all their ships and many of the worlds they controlled. But Earth itself remains uninhabitable for now. The changes to the planet are too extensive. A murmur ran through the crowd. Earth, humanity's homeworld, was still lost to them. However, Eric continued, something unexpected has happened. The liberated human consciousnesses have established a new kind of network, one built on cooperation rather than control. They're helping us understand the Holomen's technology and how to counter it. Lily, her arm in a sling from injuries sustained during the battle, stepped forward. The people of Earth are not gone. Their minds survive, and they're working to find a way back to physical form. What about the Holomen themselves, someone asked. Are they truly defeated? Doug shook his head. Not completely. Some escaped, and there may be more dormant colonies on other worlds, but we understand them now. We know how to fight them. And, more importantly, Lily added, we understand ourselves better. What makes us human isn't our bodies or even our individual minds. It's our connections to each other, our shared experiences, our capacity for hope in the darkest times. 3 days later, the remains of the Galactic Council gathered for the first time since Earth's fall. The Grand Hall felt emptier now, with many representatives lost in the conflict. But there was a sense of renewed purpose. Grand Arbiter Zolan rose to address the assembled beings. Today, we begin rebuilding. Our galaxy has faced its greatest threat and survived, thanks to the courage of many worlds. All eyes turned to Earth's empty throne. It remained vacant, a reminder of what had been lost. Eric Porter approached the throne carrying a small object, not the blood-red flower of warning that had marked the beginning of the crisis, but a simple olive branch, an ancient Earth symbol of peace. Earth's throne remains empty, Eric said, placing the branch on the seat. But humanity endures, scattered among the stars. We will not forget our home, or the price paid to save us all. Far away, in orbit around the quarantined Earth, Lily stood on the observation deck of a research vessel. Doug joined her, both looking down at the blue planet below. The nanite swarm had thinned, showing glimpses of the continents beneath. We received a new signal today, Doug told her, from inside Earth itself. What did it say? Lily asked. Doug smiled slightly. Just 3 words. We are here. Lily pressed her hand against the viewport, as if reaching toward her lost homeworld. So are we, she whispered. And we'll find a way back to each other. Earth's throne would remain empty for now, but the terrifying reason that had shaken the galaxy had also revealed humanity's greatest strength. Not their technology or their weapons, but their indomitable spirit. A spirit that could not be assimilated, controlled, or destroyed. A spirit that would somehow find its way home.